Look at us now, hippies.
Oh, Jesus.
It's what, 11 a.m.?
Combat.
Oh, there
Whoa.
You fit in seamlessly in this weird MK environment.
Do you want a margarita?
We're gonna do it.
That's it.
On your marks, get set, and go down.
Oh, no. Hell no. Now, y'all done up and done it. Welcome on this 27th day of February here in the year of our Lord 2026. My name is Luke Thomas, and welcome to another episode of Morning Kombat. No, that is not Brian Campbell. It is not. He has not returned yet. In fact, it's not, this gentleman is normal and friendly and nice. Let's get right to it. Hi, as I mentioned, my name is Luke Thomas. I join you from the capital of Estados Unidos right here in Washington, D.C., joined by my friend. You can see him on the other side of the screen. He is a play-by-play commentator and much more for Claro Sports in Mexico. It's Rodrigo del Campo. Rodrigo, welcome to the show, my friend.
Can I just start by saying, first of all, thank you to everyone. Good reception this morning, but also one of my jobs is close to a restaurant I frequent often, which I'm not going to say the name because they don't pay for advertising space on this show, but they do specialize in their margaritas, and you've ruined the word margarita for me.
Yeah.
Because every time I see margarita somewhere, my head immediately plays, do you want a margarita from the start of the show? I can be in the supermarket and just see margarita mix. I can be at a restaurant, and it's your voice in my head at least 3 times a week.
I'm feeling these margaritas, Rodrigo del Campo.
There we go. That's it. That's my head every time I go to the supermarket. But thank you for the invitation. Glad to be here. Talk a little bit about fights. Talk about a little bit about fights in Mexico, 20 minutes away from my apartment. So life's good.
Yeah, we got a lot to get to. As he indicated, UFC Mexico is this weekend. We'll talk about all the things related to that. The wars between the old and new guard in boxing have heated up. We'll get over to some of that stuff as well. The PFL making some strange choices. We'll talk about that, plus a whole lot more, some UFC White House stuff on top of it. We have a busy show for everyone. So do me a favor, if you'd be so kind, you can like this video. You can subscribe to the channel. As you can see, the socials are below. Morning Kombat is essentially everywhere. I'm essentially everywhere for those who could possibly care. Rodrigo, do you prefer people follow you on IG or Twitter? What's your preferred?
Both, same thing. I'll answer them both. I'll be on both. If you want me to call you a MAGA loser, follow me on Twitter.
Yes.
If you want me to see pictures of my dogs and from work, then follow me on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't share anything personal on social media, period. Anymore.
Just my dogs. That's it.
Yeah.
Just my dogs. Barely share my wife. I do have a private account that I'm not going to give away here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't share I saw a good movie. I used to share stuff like that on Twitter. Nope, I don't do that anymore. Forget all that. Let's remind everyone, by the way, I think tomorrow is the last day for these. You can go to morningkombat.shop, get the Army of Donkness t-shirt, and of course the poster as well. These are now available. Remember, so at 11:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, these go up in smoke. This is the last window to get it. We, of course, also have some new evergreen items. We have the graffiti logo as well as the DC kind of themed MK lettering there on the black shirt. And as a reminder, you can, of course, always email the show for dead wrongs, for fan subs. I want to keep reminding everybody, we're still doing them, just not going to do them every single week. morningkombat@gmail.com. Let's bring in the third member here of the show, who is a degenerate if ever there was one. He has blood racing through his marijuana stream. It's the one and only Long Island Luke. Hi, Long Island. How are you, bud?
I'm good. I was wondering where you were going with that blood through marijuana stream thing, but I got it. I eventually got there, boys. I'm feeling good. All right. Got a big prop quiz airing after this. Some are saying it's the Islam versus Ilya of prop quiz. I'm talking the champion Jose Youngs taking on the challenger Aaron Bronstetter.
Oh, shit.
It's a banger of an episode. Make sure you tune in. And yeah, we got UFC Mexico City tomorrow. I'm hyped. Rodrigo, let's fucking go.
Okay, hold on. Come back. To what extent are you telling your girlfriend to pound sand as you watch UFC Mexico?
To what extent? The most extent. I don't know. The highest.
Oh my God, no.
Pound stand. It's Mexico. I got to be there from the curtain jerker. Penis is fighting in the curtain jerker. I get hard for penis. Let's go.
Watch the first fight. Watch Baba Yaga. And then watch everything else on a replay.
Why is that?
Take your girlfriend on a date. It's a day night. It's a day night. Go take a day night. You can watch it later on tonight.
Saturdays are for the fights, Rodrigo. The rest of the week is date night. All right, every night is date night. Otherwise,
fine. It's okay.
Hey, Rodrigo, how long did you date your wife before you married her? Just what was the amount of time?
So barely anything at all. You guys are gonna be surprised. We're a COVID relationship. So I started going out with Fernanda officially, a year and a half. Officially, we like soft launched February of 2020. So that's a little bit before the pandemic, like weeks before the pandemic. And then she was going to come to Mexico that May. Everything closed. And then she came to Mexico in April of 2020 to stay for a little bit because she was living alone in Brazil. And then we got married in July of 2021.
Wow.
So that was
well.
Really
Long Island has been with his girl for 7 years.
Oh, wait. So before my wife, I was in a 13-year relationship.
Damn, bro.
Yeah. We broke up, and then 2.5 years later, I was married.
Incredible.
5-year anniversary this year. 5-year anniversary this year.
Congratulations. I dated my wife for about 3 years before we got married. And I think, let's see. So September of this year will be 14 years. Yeah, a long time.
Oh, that's good. Also, it's not easy to be the second most successful MMA journalist in the household. Because that is for sure. If you guys don't know my wife, she's Fernanda Prates, if you're in the US.
Prates, yep.
Formerly of MMA Junkie and The Athletic. So that's a bar that's hard to live to. She is the most successful MMA journalist in this household.
Well, you're doing just fine, which is why we have you on here today. All right. Without further ado, let's get this started here. Topic number one. We're going to start with UFC Mexico. Now, there's a lot to get to with this one, including we're going to talk about the main event, Brandon Moreno taking on Lone'er Kavanagh. We'll talk about the fight that I'm most excited about, David Martinez taking on Chito Vera. We're going to get to the fights in just a second. But part of the reason I want to have Rodrigo on is obviously to talk about the fact that, I want to learn more about the Mexican market and what's happening over there. But of course, there's some other sort of storylines beyond that too. Rodrigo, let's start. We had all seen internationally that there was I don't know what you want to call it, a cartel violent incident in and around Puerto Vallarta. There were concerns that the event might get moved for this weekend to somewhere else. So I wasn't going to buy that because I just don't think you can take a bunch of people and get them visas into the United States and process them that fast. We do have this statement up from, I think, the U.S. Embassy in Mexico. The Embassy of Mexico in the United States, I apologize, where they basically say, listen, travel conditions and security conditions are good enough to return to basically most places. And of course, the Puerto Vallarta International Airport had reopened to domestic travel. Can you give me a sense? What is the security situation there? And do you think the UFC made the right call in maintaining this event in Mexico City itself?
So Cliff's Notes, they captured, and then eventually he died under capture, the biggest narco in the world, the biggest drug dealer in the world, which is El Mencho, from a cartel that's in Guadalajara. We had violence in 3 different spots in the state of Jalisco, Guadalajara, Zapopan, and Puerto Vallarta. Guadalajara and Zapopan are very close by. Zapopan is the host city for the World Cup and for the qualifying round, the last qualifying round in about 3 weeks' time. And then some of the spots in the country. And it got pretty bad at some points, mainly stopped Monday morning. There was never really a threat of the UFC pulling the event. And this is my reporting on Monday morning and Monday afternoon. Talked to different sources in different parts of the staging process of the event, right? Talked to someone involved in management. Talked to someone involved with the fighters. Talked to someone involved in security. Talked to someone involved in logistics. There was never really a threat. The call was made to, okay, how do we spruce up security? Is this safe? They never talked about moving the event. They wanted to get security assurances first. They got security assurances first from the agency that works security for the UFC. They've been working security for the UFC since they came here in 2014, and they haven't stopped. So they have a really good relationship with them. They did beef up security at the PI, at the hotel, during every transport for people from the UFC. And they did have a meeting with the U.S. Embassy. For people that are not familiar, when you're an international brand, when you're having an international concert, let's say, or like even the Iceland national team played in Mexico, in Querétaro, a couple of days ago, you do get in touch with your embassy. There's always a security meeting with your embassy, even if it's just emails or Zoom, right? So that is not weird at all. But the embassy did assure them that the security conditions in Mexico City were going to be met. There were no incidents in or around Mexico City during what happened on Sunday evening and Sunday morning, and they just decided to stay. And as you said, look, it was not going to be possible. Anyone who said on Twitter they're going to move the event and they're just going to have it at the Apex was lying to you, straight up lying to you. This event could have not been moved to the U.S. due to visa issues, work visa issues for about half of the card. It would have to be a cancellation.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, so let's now talk about the security situation is good enough to have the event, and I'm sure everything will, in all likelihood, be fine. Let's talk about the state of the UFC within Mexico itself right now. Put up this tweet here, Long Island, if you can. This was a tweet from you, Rodrigo, earlier this week. Quote, for the audio listeners, for the first time since UFC came back in 2024, there are tickets available on Fight Week. Last 2 years, we had sellouts weeks before. I don't know if you know what the current state is of the ticket sales, but more broadly, listen, they didn't bring the very best card they could. There was obviously a change to the main event. That stuff kind of happens. Nevertheless, what would you say is the enthusiasm within Mexico for this card? And more importantly, can you give me just a sense of the level of enthusiasm for the UFC in Mexico currently, at least relative to Kane versus Verdum or relative to even just a couple of years ago?
So last we checked, there was about 4,000 tickets still for sale, which is still good. That place holds 20,000, so 4,000 left, 16,000 is more than a lot of the UFC cards during the year. It's just a little bit surprising there's still tickets for Mexico. As I said, like there's been sellouts. I think it's just fatigue. Number one, to see Brandon Moreno again as a headliner. Talked to Brandon during media day. He was he offered himself at the Tatsuro Taira fight to be in the card. He wanted to fight in Mexico City again. I think he found it shocking. I definitely found it shocking that he was the main card again. He was the headliner for a third year in a row. That was a little bit surprising. I was surprised that they had booked Alexa for the first show of the year. I wonder if they were going to have Alexa as a main card, as a main event, or a main card in Mexico City. They didn't. In and around the programming of the UFC, there's a couple of fights that could have happened here, especially like Lupi Godinez is fighting in Miami. That could have happened here. The Alexa change of date maybe could have happened here. I don't know the extent of her injury, but it was not a good card. And a lot of people have contacted me saying, hey, prices were raised. And it's no longer the ticket we bought 2 years ago, no longer the ticket we bought a year ago. And there's a lot of security complaints within the arena. And that is a constant that we've seen through the years. I have had friends and I've had a lot of people contact me saying, hey, like every time I go, there's fights, there's not enough security in this arena. Arena Ciudad de Mexico, it's called, and I no longer want to be there. So that is absolutely an issue. As far as popularity goes for the UFC in Mexico, obviously a transition period, switching from Fox Sports Mexico to Paramount Plus, which is also the streaming service for Mexico and the entirety of the continent except Canada, right? So there's a bit of an adjustment period. It is absolutely not the excitement of Kane versus Verdum, but you do have to take into account, look, but by then, you could watch every UFC event free on your like basic cable. No, you didn't have to hire anything else, or some of them on free-to-air TV in Televisa, which is the biggest network, I think, in the continent, only behind Globo in Brazil. They're gigantic in Mexico. If Televisa wants something to be famous, it'll be famous all around the country. You have The Ultimate Fighter also launched on Televisa, which was gigantic. And unless you go back to free-to-air TV, you're never going to have the enthusiasm you had once again for Verdum Kane. But you did sell out to arenas. I don't think 16,000 tickets is bad for almost like not a gap year, I would call it, but not getting someone from the new blood or not getting maybe Yair or Alexa to headline the event in Mexico and also switching streaming services. I don't think it's that bad, but the excitement is really not what it was 2 years ago.
Who is the most popular Mexican fighter in Mexico? Not Canelo in boxing, and just MMA.
I think it would be Brandon. I honestly think it would be Brandon. Even with the Americans, I know people like Ilia Topuria a lot. They like Volkanovski a lot. They obviously everyone knows John. But I do think it's Brandon. But I must say, like 3 years in a row of the same headliner, it's a little bit tiring. People didn't connect with Asual Mabayev. They really didn't know him. You need casual fans, right? If you're going to fill out a 20,000 seater, you need casual fans there. Casuals do not know Asual Mabayev. They do not know Lone'er Kavanagh. I think the addition of David Martinez really boosted the ticket sales. But yeah, it's not the best card. It's been 3 years in a row of Brandon. They just need if they're gonna come back next year, they just need a new headliner.
Yeah, fair enough. All right, let's talk about the headliner. So as you indicated, Brandon Moreno taking on Lone'er Kavanagh. Lone'er Kavanagh was definitely not the first choice. And what's kind of weird is, as many people have pointed out during this time, he was selected despite having been viciously KO'd in his last fight by Charles Johnson. And a lot of folks were like, well, why couldn't Charles Johnson headline then? It's because he had been KO'd too early, I think, to be medically eligible to be put back in there. And so they just went with, I'm not sure how many different names they went to, but they ended up with this one. Let me ask you this, Rodrigo. This is a kind of interesting fight. To me, it feels like there's just a lot of pressure on Brandon. I know he kind of was... there's the face-off, as you can see here for folks watching the stream. He didn't like the White House question, and I'm not saying that he should have. Rather, I'm just saying, am I wrong to detect that he might be feeling a little bit of pressure in the sense that, here's the thing, if Kavanagh loses, so what? Like, he filled in on short notice. Nobody really knows who he is. By what you just said, got Brandon Moreno, hugely important figure at a bare minimum for the Mexican market. He had kind of a bad showing against Tetsuro Taira. I'm not saying Lonnie's that guy. I'm just saying he's coming off of not a great performance, even if you want to say the stoppage maybe was a little bit early. Like, all the pressure is on him this time. He has to perform if he wants to maintain any kind of relevancy in this division. Do you share my assessment?
It's weird. I talked to him before the media day, and then I talked to him afterwards, and he didn't seem pressured. He was upset after the media day. 100% was upset. I'll talk about it in a second. And then during the media day, I think he's just very real about what's going on, Luke. He's very real about the fact that Almabaye gave him something that maybe a Lonnie victory can't really give him anything, just keeps him in the conversation. He is seeing this as he's saving the event. Once again, Brandon Moreno has to come to Mexico City and save the event. And that's the main reason he didn't get out of the fight. He truly, and I do truly, this is me from knowing Brandon for over 10 years and covering him for over 10 years. He absolutely despises letting people down, especially the crowd in Mexico. And he kind of understands what would have happened with the event if he had pulled out of the event. So he does see it. He does, every time he's a main event, anywhere in the world, he does see it as a big responsibility. It's like, I'm not pulling out. I'm the star of the show. Show needs to go on. So the pressure he feels is he knows he's a step behind what he thought he was going to be with a win against Almabayev. I don't know if I'm making myself clear, right? He thought maybe Almabayev and another fight, and then maybe I can raise my hand again. Now he doesn't know. Like, I beat Kavanagh, then what? Like, is it another 2 wins then? Like, do I need to beat Manel Cap? Do I need to beat anyone? Pantoja maybe in an untitled fight for me to get a title fight. I think that's kind of what annoyed him. And then about the White House question, I'm gonna try to be as polite as I can.
Let me interrupt. Do you know
Sure.
who the guy was who asked the question?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do. And this is why I'm trying to be very polite. He's a guy that has covered MMA sparingly throughout the years. I've known him for over 10 years. He's a hack. That's what he is. He's a hack. That's a hacky question. This is a guy who doesn't follow sport closely, that has not seen the... So Brandon is not super outspoken about it, but he has posted things on his social media during the years that'll let you know his opinion on things. Like, you shouldn't be asking that question if you actually follow Brandon Moreno and what he posts and stuff. And he was the only fighter that he asked the question to. So that's also a little hacky. And that outlet, which I will not mention the name of the outlet, is known for being a very hacky and a very baity outlet in Mexico. They do this all the time. They've gotten caught with lies in their coverage throughout the years. They fired people for lying on their newspaper and websites. I just thought the whole thing was very hacky. Like, I don't know. I didn't love the question. I love the response.
Yeah.
And I literally told Brandon afterwards.
To me, it's kind of interesting, right? Because in the case of Brandon, who was clearly annoyed that the question was even asked, and then in the case of Brandon Royval, who, he gave an answer about like, oh, I don't want to fight at the White House because, you know, he gave a more spirited answer, but it wasn't like he went hard in the paint in general. This is not like an animating cause of their lives. And it's kind of weird. Like anytime a UFC fighter says anything even remotely like, I don't want to fight at the White House, it explodes. And so I wonder if Brandon is like, he must have realized in real time that the fact that he even answered this question, it's like he answered like not interested, no thanks, which is about as minimally as you can do it. But I'm just pointing out, like, once the person asks the question, it's very, very difficult if you're a UFC fighter for that to not explode into a million things thereafter, you know?
I did like that he said, okay, you tell me why I would want to fight in that card. And the reporter just froze. He's like, no. Tell me.
No, but didn't he say, oh, it's because it's big for the company? And he's like,
after the second time he pushed, he was like,
okay.
Well, it's kind of big. The guy was sitting right behind me. Because it's big for the company. But also, like, you need the context. He's a border kid. Brandon Moreno is from the border, the busiest border in the entire continent. Like, this is someone who's lived with immigration his entire life, who's known a lot of people that have immigrated legally or illegally into the U.S., who's dealt with border patrol and ICE throughout the years, even living on this side of Mexico. He now lives in the U.S. This is someone who has a very different perspective on all of this than Brandon Royval, than you, than me, even you and I with immigrant wives, right? Living there in the border where the fight is gives you a very different perspective. One of my brothers lived there for 25 years, and the perspective is very different. And I wouldn't expect any border kid in Mexico to actually raise their hand and go to the White House card.
All right, so let's talk about the fight itself, though. Do you not share this assessment of like it's kind of a risky fight here for Brandon? I know your point, like he didn't want to let anyone down. I'm not saying that Lone'er Kavanagh is the toughest challenge, but he's definitely tough enough that if you're not on your P's and Q's, or I know it's early to say, and I'm not endorsing the idea that Moreno is on the decline. I am saying he's coming off of a real bad loss, or a pretty bad loss anyway. And he's got a guy who is dangerous enough where you can't really mess around. But if you lose, it's terrible for your career. And if you win, it's not nothing, certainly, but it doesn't, you're just kind of holding serve. It's a risky ass fight.
If you haven't seen Lone'er Kavanagh fight, watch him fight. He's a good ass fighter. He's really good. I think there was a lot of mistakes in the last fight. He definitely got gassed. I'm wondering what's going to happen here on Saturday. He's been here for 2 weeks. I don't think that's enough for you to have a full gas tank in Mexico City. It's not bad at all. I think a month minimum is what you need. But of course, like, it's an expensive. I asked them if there's any hesitation in fighting in Mexico City because it's an expensive card to fight in. You need to get acclimated. If you're just out here on Tuesday, you're gonna fizzle out on Saturday. That's a little bit of question. It's just biology, right? But he hits hard. He puts pressure on you. He packs a punch. Good on his scrambles. Switches things up. Has a lot of experience in the corner with Nathaniel Wood, with Brad Pickett, with his coaches. And Brandon knows that. No, he's still angry, Luke, about the stoppage in the Tatsuro title fight. But he's very conscious that he flat out lost that second round. That he was getting dominated on the second round, that he couldn't do anything on that second round. But he did want the last 5 minutes, right, to try and get the fight back. And he's very knowledgeable about the risk. He knows, like, I win, it does nothing for me. I lose. Back of the line in this division is way too long.
For me, I'm going to say, in terms of keys to victory on this one, I was just kind of thinking about this. Surprisingly, I was looking at this. Dude, Lone'er Kavanagh's takedown defense is really good. Really good. 88% on the career. And even if you look at, like, the one, for example, that Charles Johnson got him with, he fed him a guillotine and was able to stand up almost immediately from there. So in your estimation, Rodrigo, what would you say are Brandon's keys to victory? Is it getting to the back? Is it counterpunching? The thing you mentioned on the feet, I totally agree with. Kavanagh, a very offensively dynamic threat. However, in the Felipe Dos Santos fight and in the Charles Johnson fight, getting clipped with big shots with his hands down, he does appear to be defensively vulnerable. Walk me through what you see as the keys to victory for Brandon Moreno.
For me, and what I have in my notes is pressure him and initiate. I think that's what Brandon needs, because that's when Lonnie is worse. When he's backing up, when he doesn't have any time to set up. And a lot of the success that Tatsuro Taira had in that fight against Brandon Moreno is because he got him out of position in the second round. If you remember, the first one was basically holding a triangle. They couldn't get up because he was holding a really deep triangle at some points of the first round, right? But in the second one, what Tatsuro Taira did was just pressure him, get him out of position, reset quickly, and just not let Brandon go forward. I think for Brandon, a lot of pressure, which is what he likes. Even when he's not throwing, look, Brandon sometimes very good at pressuring you with position, right? He's walking forward, he's feinting, he's faking, he loves his jab, he loves his three, and just trying to get you out of position. And I think that's when Lonnie is really bad. If you remember the finish in the Charles Johnson fight, it's exactly when Johnson just starts walking him down, and Lonnie even gets flat-footed a couple of times, gets even footed a couple of times when he's backing out. And I think that might be the key for Brandon on Saturday.
Yeah, he tried to greet Johnson with a right hand. I think either partially landed or didn't land at all, and then just peels, and then he gets clipped with a huge shot as a consequence. I absolutely agree. I think pressure is going to be key. I think initiating is an interesting one too. Also, you got to have an answer for the leg kicks, I feel like, of Lone'er Kavanagh. Those are devastating, hard leg kicks. They were hard in the Charles Johnson fight. They were hard in the Dos Santos fight. They're hard in a bunch of them. That's a really big key for me. Now, looking at the odds here, Long Island Luke, we've got Brandon Moreno sitting at -218 from our friends at DraftKings, Lone'er Kavanagh +180. Do you think that this is a fair assessment of the odds?
Yeah, I know this fight is weird to me. I know this is a weird comparison, but this fight is reminding me a lot of Tatsuro Taira when he took on Hyung Sung Park. He was supposed to fight Amir Albazi, and then like a week out, Hyung Sung Park steps in, and like I don't know if everyone just bought into the hype, but everyone's like, "Oh, this Hyung Sung Park guy, this guy's the next thing. He's gonna be great." And then Tatsuro Taira just kind of had his way with him over like 2 rounds. I almost feel like this is a little too much too soon for Lonnie, where like Moreno is just gonna have his way with him, but I can't actually put my money where my mouth is. Personally, I'm taking the over 2.5 in this. I think it goes a little long, especially like past the 3-round mark. You know, Lonnie did gas out in his last fight, and this is obviously 5 rounds, and it's in Mexico City. Yeah. But I do feel like he's probably learned his lesson. I know John Gooden was just over with him while he was training, and he said he was running like, like crazy every day. So I'm sure every guy does that, but you know what I mean? He's trying to get his cardio up, so we'll see. But I really can't pick a side. My gun to my head, I'm going Moreno decision, but we'll see.
I've known a lot of guys who have run a lot before coming to Mexico City, and then they actually face biology and chemistry, which is what altitude is, right? You can't outrun altitude. You can be in the best shape of your life. There's a lot of pollution, and there's no air. There's no air. You've been to Bogota, Luke. Bogota's even worse, dude.
I don't know what y'all call it in Mexico, but I get soroche. I get altitude sickness every time I go. Every time I go.
And just suck it up and drink water. There's not a lot of you can do. By the way, also just to add, a lot of people maybe don't know this in the US, Brandon has been working as an analyst for the UFC broadcast in Spanish for a bit now. He's become way better at analyzing, and I think he's called every single fight of Lonnie's career.
Wow.
So he has studied him before even facing him. He studied him for his notes, and then he called his fights, and now he's fighting him. So there's more knowledge than from the common fighter.
Last question on Brandon before we move to the rest of the card very quickly, which is, I'm not in any way at all suggesting he is washed. What I am going to ask is, and it's a loaded question, so take it how you want to take it, okay? Take it how you want to take it. Does the Tatsuro Taira fight prove that Brandon is post-peak?
Well, if he had a bad fight against Amir Albazi, I would say yes. But he did have a great fight against Albazi. So I would say today, for me, it's a bad night. I would have to see him have another bad fight for me to say that. It's been 10 years in the UFC. It's been in October. It's going to be 10 years in the UFC. It's been a long career. But for me, if you have 2 consecutive bad fights, then maybe you're past your peak. I think the Albazi fight showed me something, even though that sort of Taira fight was not that good.
Fair enough. All right. We got to get to the fight that I am the most excited about on this card. And Long Island Luke will back me up on this, Rodrigo. The co-main event, we had done our list for guys we're watching this year who I think is going to have a breakout year. And number 1 on my list was David Martinez. David Martinez. This guy, to me, looks like he's got the goods. He is fast. He is aggressive. He can scramble. He can strike. He fights with attitude and meanness and just like a certain kind of quickness. And that's real difficult because here comes Chito Vera, speaking of guys who appear to be very much post-peak, in a really, really difficult stretch of his career. Vera, by the way, enters this contest having won 1 of his last 5. He lost to Corey Sandhagen via decision, lost to Sean O'Malley via decision, Devison Figueiredo. And you could say, well, those guys were all either champion or, pretty close to championship quality. But then he lost to Ayman Zahabi. And here comes David Martinez on an absolute hot streak. The big one for me, Rob Font. Now, Rodrigo, obviously, David Martinez has not fought anybody, even Rob Font, a pretty high-quality fighter, not quite the quality, I would say, or at his peak anyway, of Chito Vera. Size this one up for me. Who is David Martinez? Do you share my enthusiasm for him? And what do you think is possible this year? Do you agree that not only do I like his chances in this fight, but I actually think he could have a breakout 2026?
I 100% agree. 100% agree. He's just such a great fighter. Good kid, very aggressive. Can't teach mean, right? You can't teach it. And guy's just mean in the cage. He's just really mean in the cage. That's not a thing. But also remember, David has had a lot of competition throughout his life. Martial artist since he was a kid. Both parents black belts. Sister, former UFC fighter Melly Martinez, a black belt. And he's competed in kickboxing, karate, and everything forever. At a decent level, like World Games level. And it just gives you, I always remember the Matt Brown quote about the Stephen Wonderboy supposed streak, right? It's 100 and whatever fights won in kickboxing. And Matt was, look, even if he didn't win it, he fought 100 and something fights. He always got up. He always made weight. He was always in camp. He was always training. And that just gives you the mindset of a competitor. I think that's really what David has. I think he has 2 enemies on Saturday. Obviously, Chito, which is the highest quality fighter he's ever faced, but also expectations. When the card was announced, Luke, they were still trying to close this fight for the announcement. They couldn't do it in time for the announcement. Came back a couple of weeks later. My entire social media feed was just full of people asking, ¿Dónde está el doctor? They're asking for the doctor. They call him the doctor. He's a doctor. ¿Dónde está el doctor? Doctor, 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 doctor. Every single message just wanted David Martinez on the show. And David knows this. So the expectations from the crowd are incredibly high. So he's fighting the expectations. He's fighting Chito, fighting as a Coleman, fighting with 16,000 maniacs in the arena. It's going to be a good one. I love him as a fighter. I love his aggressiveness. Love that he can switch stances. I love him as a fighter.
Bro, I got to tell you, I love him as a fighter too, but I want to focus here on Chito with the time we have, which is, I'm not sure what to say here. I guess I mentioned I went through his record. He wasn't living before that. He lost to Aldo and Song Yudong, although now we're back in 2020. That's a little far back, but the recent ones, they're not bad losses. But then the split to Ayman here to me seems to be one of the key problems, as best I can tell, Rodrigo, which is that so Chito has always had a fucking iron chin. I'll say this. If David Martinez stops him, that would be an enormous victory because basically no one else of any kind of note has ever. I don't think anyone's ever done that. Certainly not in the UFC.
Never.
Maybe
Never.
Not even early in his career.
I don't think he's ever been TKO'd.
Yeah. I mean, he's had an iron chin, like just a complete. And you thought, okay, if you can use that and really put that together, put some skills behind it, and he was training with some great guys, he could do something with that. And for a while he was making some moves in that direction. But it feels to me like things have stalled. And I'm not entirely sure why. Is it the training environment? Is it motivation? Again, he wasn't fighting scrubs for the most part. And I'm not even saying Zahabi is some kind of bad fighter. But I don't put him necessarily on the level of some of the other guys. He was there. He, in my opinion, has stalled out at the worst possible time, right when you've got young guys in their late 20s absolutely on a tear. What is your read on why Chito Vera has kind of seemingly plateaued?
Well, number one, speaking about his chin, with your friends, my friends, our friend Danny Segura, Hablamos MMA, I did the preview yesterday. I think David is going to knock him out.
Holy shit. Dude, that'd be so big. That'd be so big if he did that.
Can you imagine if he gets Chito's first stoppage?
Wow, bro.
That'd be gigantic. And my thing is, they obviously gave him the Ayman Zahabi fight as a competitive fight. Okay, you can't with the elite. Can you hang with Zahabi? And then I watched it during the week and I rewatched this morning. And to me, it's insane that Chito led Zahabi had so many moments throughout the fight. Again, I don't want to minimize what Ayman Zahabi has done in the sport, but Chito's done a lot more. And if you're in a fight where you get a split decision and you let him get so many moments in the fight and you don't pressure him enough and you let him reset, I'm so sorry. If you let David reset, he's going to knock you out. And we're going to get open stances too. Because David can switch, but he's a lefty. I don't know how much lefty Chito has in him now. If you give him an open stance, David, with that power on the two, with that power on the high kick, you're in deep trouble on Saturday.
No question about it. No question about it. I'm looking at some of these stats here for the two of them. The numbers for David Martinez are so much better. For example, strikes landed per minute for David Martinez, 4.85. And you'd say, all right, well, where's Chito? 4.25. That's not bad. That's not a huge difference. However, Martinez strikes absorbed 2.95. So he's got a nearly double integer positive differential. And Marlon Vera, 5.37. And again, it's not like he can't take it, but it just seems like people are able to set the tone on him. They can land and get away. They can slow it down. He's constantly covering up. And like the thing that kills me is you never see Chito like slip and rip. It's just block and then go. And then against guys like O'Malley and Sandhagen, they're gone. Well, David Martinez has some of the fastest feet I've ever seen in this division. This seems like a real, by the way, going to the odds here as well, Rodrigo, the odds here on this fight, Marlon Vera plus 235, David Martinez minus 290. The odds makers think wipeout is a strong word, but they definitely like Martinez's chances here.
Yeah, when you're close to minus 300, that's almost close to a wipeout, right? Yeah, he has everything against him, Chito. And I just want to give him his flowers for a second because, of course, we're thinking David's going to win. But 25 fights, in the UFC for Chito Vera, from an Ecuadorian who wasn't really well liked in the first development program in Jackson's Wink MMA in 2012, 2013. That no one at that gym ever. I was in contact with every coach at that gym when that was going on. And everyone talked to me about Brandon, about Yair, about Teco Quiñones, some of the fighters that were there, right? None of them talked to me about Chito. They really didn't think he was going to make it. And then he goes on The Ultimate Fighter, gets sick, gets pulled out of the show. He's the first man to ever walk to the octagon in Mexico City. He did it in 2014 against Marco Beltran. I think he got robbed that night, but he didn't show anything special. If you had asked me that night, I would have never in a million years guessed that he was going to have a championship fight, that he was going to fight 25 times in the UFC. So kudos to Chito, but I don't know. I don't know if he has changed anything against David Martinez. That's going to be one of his toughest fights in a while.
And Chito's a bit of a hard hitter himself, but again, Martinez doesn't get hit too often. That's a pretty good number that he's got. And will Martinez bite down on the mouthpiece too? A little bit, right?
A little bit, but you said in the Raw Fun fight, he does it and he goes in 1-2, and he's so quick that I think eventually he realizes, like, I don't have to do this. I'm too quick for this. There's an exit there. He's really gonna break in the center line. Look, if you watch that Raw Fun fight, he's really good at escaping a little, breaking the center line, go with the power with a punch, go with the power with a kick maybe, and then go to the exit, reset, and then go back again. And that's honestly, to me, that's the Taekwondo and the karate experience. Because you're doing open stances, breaking the center line, going for 3 points to the head. And David does that a lot.
We move down the card. The golden boy, Daniel Zellhuber, currently sitting at just 26 years of age. I think people forget that. However, he is riding a 2-fight losing streak. Now, once again, the Esteban Ribovics fight. I can never know how do you pronounce his name in Spanish?
Esteban Ribovics.
Okay, Ribovics. Okay. That was a split decision. That was a phenomenal fight. They total back and forth thing. It was amazing. But then he kind of goes and lays an egg against Michael Johnson back in July, I think, of last year. So here he is against King Green, who himself, 39 years of age, and he enters this contest. Yes, he did get a win over Lance Gibson Jr., son of a former Lance Gibson, who, by the way, is married to a female MMA fighter, Julia Budd, and was a UFC vet himself. But then he had the 2 losses to Patty and Hoofy. Where are you on like what King Green has left? We know he's got the hands down, kind of tricky style. Zellhuber is rangy, certainly not afraid of contact. Is this a get right fight for Zellhuber? How do you frame what this contest is about?
I think the UFC have a lot of confidence in Daniel. He had a previous opponent that I don't think was ever made public. He was going to fight Carlos Diego Ferreira, the Brazilian. He had that fight for, I think, a day or two, and then that got pulled, and then it was King Green for the Mexico City fight. But the first fight, that means the UFC has a lot of confidence in you, a lot of trust in you, right? He did tell me, I've been covering Daniel for over 10 years too. I have a really good relationship with him. The Michael Johnson fight did affect him in many levels. It's the first time he got into a trash talk fight. It's the first time he really felt like he needed to promote the fight in that way, and it was just really uncomfortable for him. Not only to do that, but do it in a different language for him. It's just very difficult for him. And he got pulled into that during the fight. He was very hesitant. He played into Michael Johnson's range. It's to me, it's always incredible to see someone like Zellhuber, right? I call it the Rick Glenn School of Fighting. When you're the tallest one, you're the longest one, and yet every time you fight, you're in the range of your opponent. I think that's one of the flaws that he's seen in the Michael Johnson fight. He switched camps, no longer Extreme Couture, no longer with Eric Nixick. He's going to fight ready. He's going to have Eddie Cha in his corner for this weekend. Feels like he got a more personalized approach in training for this fight. And he understands. He understands he not only needs to win, he needs to knock him out. He understands he needs a big statement this weekend.
All right, with the time we have remaining, give me another fight on this card that is worth paying attention to for our audiences. There's a few names that our audience will recognize. Very quickly, I just want to point out for Colombia, this is actually making news everywhere.
Yeah.
Javier Kings is he's making his UFC debut. This was the guy who had a phenomenal win on the Contender Series. He's taking on Douglas Silva de Andrade, who might have the best physique in all of MMA. All right, that's on the early prelims. What do you got, Rodrigo? What's standing out to you?
Yeah, he's been out for a while. Good luck for the Colombian fight. Edgar Chait is one of the most underrated fighters in the card. Only losses to Joshua Van and to Tatsuro Taira, the guys who are fighting for the belt. Only losses fighting Felipe Bunes. That's a fight I'm interested in. Emmanuel Rodriguez making his UFC debut, former The Ultimate Fighter. He's going to have Rosendo Sanchez, DC's former wrestling coach and striking coach, in the corner for his fight against Kevin Borges. Kevin Borges, who played spoiler in Mexico City last year, beating Lazy Boy Rodriguez. Santiago Luna fighting Angel Pacheco. Santiago Luna, border boy, second fight in the UFC. Has been training with Jason Perillo. Shared a little bit of training with Arman Sarukian before this fight. And everyone's favorite, at least in Argentina, Aileen Perez versus Macy Chasson. Macy did make weight for this fight, but Aileen is probably like the only fighter trying to make 135 exciting for the women. So hopefully she'll have a good fight. Look at that. Look at that look. She did it on the press day, by the way. She did it on media. They asked for individual pictures from the fight. She's like, well, I'm just gonna twerk. And then she twerks from one side and say, hey, can you do pictures on the other side of the stand? Okay, but I'm gonna twerk again. Twerked again, called out Amanda Nunes, did everything. So good on Aileen Perez for bringing some excitement at 135.
Bro, that's probably on her driver's license. Let's be honest about that. Long Island Luke, what are we missing? Give me some value on this card. What are you watching?
Well, I just want to point out about this card. There's 13 fights. 11 of them contain a minus 200 favorite or higher.
Jesus.
So like there's really no dogs on this fight I like whatsoever, or on this card I should say whatsoever, unless you're gonna take a flyer on like the King Greens of the world and hope that he can pull out the upset. But I'm looking up and down this card. Macy Chasson is probably, we were just talking about that fight, the best dog on this card, and I don't really feel that confident in her. Like I feel like Aileen Perez riding the momentum. Macy's kind of hit or miss. Any other fights on this card, I'm going up and down. Regina Taurine making her UFC debut. People are hyped on her. She's plus 164 right now. That's the only other fight that contains a minus 200 or lower. And yeah, Penis. We got to talk about Penis, guys. I mean, Damian Penis is
I know you want to talk about it.
He's coming off Contender. Look, Penis is hard. He finishes everyone. He looks great out there. He looks huge.
But look, how quick does Penis finish?
Penis, everyone is satisfied. People are usually satisfied when they watch Penis finish.
So it's not about it being quick or slow. It's just the satisfaction.
Exactly. Like sometimes it's quick. Penis does finish quick sometimes, but like you're still.
I'm gonna turn this into a solo show. Fuck.
He's not embarrassed about it, right? Because
no, embarrassed about it, right?
It happens to everyone, right?
Yeah. If you finish him too quick, he might get embarrassed. But as long as he's in charge, you're good. Yeah.
And last but not least, Chris Moutinho's on this card against Christian Quinones. It'll be Rock'em Sock'em.
Look,
So,
I love
probably.
Christian. Has some fun in 2 years. Hopefully, he has a good result.
All right, let's go to topic number 2 here if we can. So again, we're not getting a lot of super clear information. We're kind of going off of half reporting. Give us a break. We're doing our best here. But let's talk about it. According to the latest version of that, Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje, we thought was going to headline the UFC White House card. And now we're getting to a place where the latest reporting suggests that it may not be that case at all. And here is the original gentleman who reported it, Alvaro Colmenero. He says, quote, regarding Ilia Topuria's fight against Gaethje at the White House, the fight has not been signed. And despite being a possibility, the chances of it taking place there have decreased. There are several geopolitical and economic arguments against the fight being held at the White House. And he later goes on to say that one of those reasons might be what people had earlier speculated, Rodrigo, namely that, do they really want to put a guy, Justin Gaethje, on a card where there's a good chance where someone who resides in Spain, speaks Spanish, but obviously is Georgian and has a whole, unique lineage, but certainly not American, he goes and just flatlines them. Do they really want that? However, I went and found it yesterday, and I tweeted about this. There's a quote from Dana White asking, is this going to be America versus the world? And his answer was no. We're going to make the best fights that we can. All right. Based on this reporting, let's assume for the second that there is at least some truth to it. How do you understand that? And what kind of, I know that there's political baggage to this event, but just in terms of the fights themselves for the start of this question, what does this reporting tell you about what kind of card we're going to get?
So I don't know. I don't personally know Alvaro, but I do know he is the closest journalist to Ilia Topuria. So when Alvaro says something about Ilia Topuria, it tends to have a lot of truth in it. It is obviously Topuria's side, right? Because it could be that, hey, like we're not fighting the White House, and then Topuria is adding, right? Like they don't want to see an American get knocked out, brother. But we don't know. But if Ilia is saying that he's not going to fight, he's probably not going to fight. I had seen the Dana White thing, Luke, and I did believe that until these past Winter Olympics, until the men's hockey team thing with Donald Trump and Kash Patel, and seeing Donald Trump surrounded with the team and putting on the medal, and it's like, I think he's gonna change his mind. I think he wants all Americans, and I think he wants every American on the card winning, and I think he wants to shake hands with everyone and just have U.S. flags winning every single fight on that card. It's just a hunch. But I did think the way the environment shifted when the men's hockey team won and then went to the State of the Union address is like, I don't know about just having the best fights.
Man, I got to tell you, I mean, I don't know how okay. All right.
I feel the same. I feel about
I'm just trying to think. I'm just trying to think, okay, let's assume that what you're saying is totally true, right? And what this reporting from Alvaro is largely correct. Like, what is the real material impact of the actual card you're going to get in that circumstance? And the answer
propaganda.
Is, well, okay, that's one side of it for sure. I'm just talking about quality of the card. Like, here's the point I'm trying to make. One thing that for example, one of the things that I've argued is, why did Joe Pyfer get a fight against Izzy for the main event of the UFC Seattle card? And I don't know this, it's just a guess. But I do have it on very good authority that the UFC is very much interested in making sure they can boost the fortunes of American fighters. And the reason for that is because the American market has declined pretty noticeably, right? There's hardly any, I think, in the top 15 of the pound for pound, maybe max, and I think that's just about it. And this is historically totally unusual. Like there's hardly any American champs. Everyone knows the story at this point. And so if you're going to try and, make this thing a big in the US market, you're going to try and boost the fortunes of the American fighters that are there. Fair enough. I get it. It's fine. They're boosting the fortunes of the Mexican fighters this weekend. There's going to be room for the American ones too. I think that plays a role in some of the matchmaking. However, while I think that there is a reason as a promoter to potentially want to prime the pump, before it gets to a later stage, at the same time, if you just have a card where the Americans all have a good chance of either vanquishing another American or, in more likelihood, somebody who's not, what kind of quality fights are you going to get? And the answer is I don't know what that would be. I don't know what that would be. Like, you could do John Jones versus Poatan, but I don't know how good Jones is in 2026, and Dana doesn't even want to use him by all indications. Like, there's hardly any guys in the top 15 who are pound for pound. Max is fighting not this weekend, but the following weekend, making him largely ineligible for that anyway. So I'm just trying to point out, like, who are these top Americans that you can pair with other top fighters that the Americans are big enough that a casual audience would care about and would have a good enough chance to win that you could like guarantee something like this. Like you point out, for example, Rodrigo, the American men won in hockey. Okay, but they were real good. You know what I mean? They were very, very good.
I mean, they hadn't won in 40-something years, but yes.
Yeah, and they hadn't won since I was 1 year old. I mean, it's been so long. You don't have any of that dynamic with the American market now. Am I making sense?
100%. I think, and by the way, the top 15, you have one American-based fighter in Joshua Van from Myanmar.
Right, okay.
And then you have Max, who doesn't even walk out with the American flag, right? He walks out with the Hawaiian flag. Doesn't even walk out with the American flag. But anyway, I think what you're going to have to do is you have to put one good main event, one good co-main event. It doesn't matter where they're from. If you get Islam, you get someone else in those two. And then what you're going to do is, and you've called it, they're doing it in Mexico, right? They do it regionally. They do it all over the world. They go to another country and they try and boost the fortunes of those fighters. And I think I see that happening. A nice main event, a nice co-main event, and then however many more fights they can fit in there, maybe 6. I guess they were talking about 8, right? Maybe another 6. Then those are fights for the Americans to win.
You know, they were saying 6 or 7. I mean, I don't know what they'll actually do.
So let's say like 2 title fights and 4 more, maybe.
Who do you think headlines this?
I think it's going to end up being Islam. Just on
Really?
timing alone. Who else? If you need a championship, but if Kayla's available, it's Kayla. But if you mean champions on availability, who's not fighting? Who's fighting? If you want a championship fight in there, it's either Ilya or Islam. No, on timing. Who else?
I mean, here's the thing. It's like, it's kind of funny, right? I would be happy to see Islam on this card. He's arguably, if not outright, the best fighter in the sport. Sure, put him on there. I'm all in favor of that. I mean, 2 thumbs up for me. But it's kind of weird. I don't know if the fan base, the fan base would not reject Islam being on the card, but like the broader public, you got a Russian Muslim fighter named Islam, and then are you also going to have Conor on that card too? And I realize that there is a shit ton of baggage on that side too. But I'm just saying,
it's going to have to be Conor, right?
Well, this is my point. It's like I think the likelihood is they're gonna, because Conor has kind of like been by the American MMA fan base. They're not going to care that he's Irish in any kind of way.
At all.
Conor's super pro Trump and the whole 9
He's
yards.
a Trump guy, yeah.
Long Island Luke is saying, what about a Max Justin rematch for BMF if Max beats Charles? But okay, this will be the first week of March, so you'd have the rest of March, April, May, mid-June. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that.
If you make it worth his while, right?
I don't have appetite for that, nor should Justin take that, considering he's next for the title. But that's an American versus American fight you could headline the card with.
Long Island, do you understand my point about this? Like, I don't understand if you're worried about these things and the way the reporting indicated, it makes you make a card that's like a fight night card. You can't even make a pay-per-view off of this thing.
No. If that's what they're gonna do, then it's gonna be. I don't think they're gonna do that though, dude. I think they'll make winnable one-sided American matchups if they can. You know what I mean? You don't have 100%. To do American versus American. You could do a shitty, foreigner versus an American who's really good or something. Favorite in your
or how do you do 4 or 5? I mean, again, I know that this is probably ridiculous, but how would you do 4 or 5 title fights and then we're also going to promote Americans? Are you going to have interim titles? Like, what are you going to do?
They could.
Like, if you want to make a card, any card, and you want to make it high quality in 2026, you're going to have a limited number of Americans on it right now. Now, maybe that changes in a year or 2, but at the present moment, I just think that's the reality. You have to have an internationally or, a reasonably internationalized card if what you're really focused in on are premium fights with premium skilled fighters. That's just where the sport is at this present moment. Now, let me ask you about this other part here, Rodrigo, which is that TKO execs confirm. This was reported, I believe, either by Sportico or Sports Business Journal, maybe even Puck.
I think it was Puck.
It was Puck. Okay. But it was confirmed on the earnings call with the TKO executives recently, namely that the event is in all likelihood, this White House event, is going to cost $60 million. Now, it was also reported that they're not going to make a profit, that you can see them say that there. There was additional reporting that through things like advertising and other forms of revenue generation that they hope to recoup about half that cost, $30 million. So let's say they're going to be about $30 million in the hole. This is important to understand because the entire Sphere card was $20 million, and even those costs were offset with a pretty good gate as well as a Riyadh sponsorship. So remember, it was called like Riyadh Season Presents UFC Noche. Whatever. I can't even remember the branding anymore. It was kind of all over the place. So I'm going to ask this question, and it's a loaded question, Rodrigo. So take it how you want, okay? The question is, in your opinion, do the costs make the event worth it?
I think they've made the money back already. I really do. Remember this: who introduced the Allisons to the Trumps? The Allisons, who are about to have the biggest media empire this size of Charles Kane. It was Dana White. It was the UFC, right? Who's getting pushed? The Ali Renewal Act. It's the UFC, right? Who got us sort of a prize, a gigantic TV deal by Paramount, by the Allisons? It's the UFC, right? Whatever they can make back on advertising, just being on the good side of Trump, and what has happened in cronyism, which is what it is, in the last year and a half, I think whatever they spend is already worth it to them. Yeah. If the Ali Renewal Act passes and they can build the empire they want in boxing, whatever amount of money they're pushing into this thing is just absolutely worth it.
Yeah, dude, this is my point to everyone. It's like what I met with people on Capitol Hill in between the two different hearings that they had related to through committee the passage of the Ali Renewal Act. So it's obviously not been even voted on the floor, but it had to get voted on in committee to pass. So between those two events, I actually met with some people on Capitol Hill, and what they told me was that there was it wasn't like heavy pressure, but that the White House had kind of communicated to the folks on the Education and Workforce Committee that this was a priority for them, right? So I don't know what Speaker Johnson, whether he's going to pick it up and how soon and blah, blah, blah. The point I'm trying to make is they're putting their thumb on the scale, which a lot of White Houses do for individual pieces of legislation. But I'm saying this is for the UFC's sake in this particular case. They're putting their thumb on the scale. And if this ends up passing, which will just, essentially make them becoming a monopoly, almost a foregone conclusion, if not a formality, they'll make all of their money back within a year, less than that. They'll make it back within a couple of months. Like them burning 30 million is a pimple on the ass of what they are going to ultimately generate with this more favorable political and then media environment that they've now cultivated for themselves. So like, dude, they could burn. I'm not even kidding. I'm not saying this would be a good idea. They could burn 600 million and they'd be okay. You know what I mean? Like they could go well beyond what they have and they would all make their money back multiple times over. Is it worth it? If you're the UFC or you're TKO, how would it not be worth it? Right?
And it's absolutely worth it. And also, if you go to Turkey and you be like, hey, like what we're spending in this UFC show, and I understand this is the UFC and not TKO boxing, is going to be worth it for TKO boxing in the future. You think you can spot a couple of millions over here too? They have a lot. Look, Dana White is great at 1,000 things, right? He's great at 1,000 things. He's really good at playing with other people's money. He's really good at using other people's wallets. And he knows how to use them effectively. And I 100% think 60, 100 millions is just worth it to them to burn it.
Long Island Luke, can you do me a favor? Can you come on the screen and take my picture or take on my slot? I've got someone who won't leave my front door and they're banging on it. And I'm now starting to get concerned. Can you help me out here just one second?
Best I can. Let me put Rodrigo full.
You can
and-
put me solo. Don't worry
Yeah,
about it. What do you want to
let's
talk about now?
Okay, be right back. Sorry, boys.
No worries about it.
Rodrigo. I mean, who do you think is a bigger prospect? Let me ask you this: Santiago Luna or Imanol Rodriguez? Who has more upside in your opinion?
Well, now it's Santiago. We'll see in the future, right? With Emmanuel training with DC, training with Rosendo. I think now it's Santiago. Santiago's been out for a while. He is one of the few Mexican fighters that has made it into the UFC with no contender series. I know the Ultimate Fighter. I was really upset that they made him not go to contender series after being the Ultimate Fighter. He ended up, he ended up losing as Bopo, right? Who's like had a career in the UFC, has had a long career. I think he had a great showing. I don't think it was fair for him to go back to the contender series. They did it. Santiago did get hired from it. I just think today Santiago just has the higher echelon, but we'll talk about him in a couple of fights. They're both really, really good.
Appreciate
Sorry about that, boys. Okay, and then last but not least, within Mexico, what would you say is the impression of the UFC White House event?
Okay, I'm going to choose my words carefully right here, right?
Yeah.
I think the opinion of Mexicans about the White House event is
Play the sound, Long Island. It's not.
Thank you very much. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, fair enough.
I think
All right.
I think that's what it is. We just don't care about it. We'll watch it.
Yeah,
We'll all watch it. I already paid for Paramount Plus, right? I want to watch it, but I don't think anyone expects much.
Okay, very good. All right, let's before we get to topic number 3, let's talk about our big friends here. You know what we're talking about here when we get to our favorite protein sources. Here's what I'm going to show it to you right here. Huel, Huel. Huel. This is my particular favorite flavor. I'm going to show it to you on the screen here. The chocolate peanut butter flavor. I am a sucker for chocolate and peanut butter, but you know what? I want better sources for the kinds of things that I eat, even when they're delicious. And I got you covered. Huel is going to take care of it. So right now we're about 2 months into 2026. If you're aiming to be healthier and to keep your nutrition top of mind, there's an easy way to stay on track without cutting corners or compromising your goals. You got to check out Huel, as I just showed you. Huel. That's Huel. We all know days get chaotic fast. Mornings turn into meetings. Workouts run long. Suddenly it's mid-afternoon and a meal gets skipped or replaced, and that with something that just doesn't really count as like nutritious or maybe all that good for you. This is where Huel steps in with their Black Edition ready-to-drink bottle. Look at this. Look at this. And it's got a little weight on it as well. It's a complete meal, 35 grams of protein, 7 grams of fiber. That's extremely important. 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, and it's under $5. Cheaper than your favorite latte. And does it taste good, ladies and gentlemen? I'm here to tell you that it does. And it has flavors. Again, this is my favorite, the chocolate peanut butter. However, there's many other ones you can get. And again, 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors, gluten-free, as well as being under $5. It is a it's a complete meal you can literally grab and go. And if you want something more customizable, Huel also offers their Black Edition powder. Blend it with ice and milk, create your own smoothies. If you need something quicker, shake it with water, you're good to go. The powder has a bigger boost of 40 grams of protein, same complete nutrition and meal benefits, just a different vibe. Flexible flavors, you can add fruit, nut butter, hit your protein goals without needing to cook. If you're trying to stay consistent, this combo makes it stupidly easy. So here's what we're going to do. Limited time offer. Get Huel today with my exclusive offer of 15% off online using the code COMBAT15. That's KOMBAT15 at Huel.com/combat15. So one more time, the code is the same as the website, HUEL.com/KOMBAT15, and the code KOMBAT15. New customers only. Thank you to Huel for partnering and supporting our show. If you're busy, this is a game changer. Huel.com/combat15. Use our code combat15 with a K, 15% off. Do it now. All right. Question number 3. Let's get this going. This week, it was revealed that Frank Warren of Queensberry Promotions intends to sue Saudi Arabia's Sela. That's the Turkey Al-Sheikh promotion. They are the promoter. That's the name of the promoter from Saudi Arabia, essentially the company anyway, for breach of contract related to the partnership with Zuffa Boxing. I'm not here to weigh in on the merits of the lawsuit, which we haven't even seen yet. But Rodrigo, the question would be, here is what Frank Warren is essentially suing for. It's $1 billion. He's claiming TKO and Sela breached exclusivity contracts and went behind his back to form Zuffa Boxing without him, as I mentioned, seeking $1 billion, a figure he claims the company would have made if the exclusivity contracts would have been honored. There was this insane response from the Ring magazine, which of course Turkey owns, where he tried to launder his response to it through the magazine, just absolutely destroying what is left of that place. But the question is, like, how do you read this situation? Is it that this is the last gasp of a certain kind of old school promoter? Or do you think that there might be merit to some of these claims that these people are acting in some kind of underhanded way? How do you assess what is actually happening between these players?
I'm not a lawyer. Oh, well, it's in the UK, right? So I'm not a solicitor. But if what he says is true, I guess there's some merit, right? What he's saying is, I had a contract with TKO. I had a contract with Sela, and those guys showed each other the contracts with me, and on that basis formed Zuffa Boxing. That is what he's arguing about. And if that actually happened, I mean, it's privileged information on both sides. There's going to be a compensation. But I think what's important here, look, is you say the last gasp. The type of gasp that he's doing, right? He's not going at the promotion. He's not trying to stop them from giving out a belt. He's not trying to stop the Elite Renewal Act in the US, because obviously that doesn't matter to him. He's trying to get money to leave. That's how it reads to me. It's like, guys, we've kind of lost. I'm going to get my payout. Maybe I'm going to do my shows. I'll see about it. But this is the way I can get my payout. I don't think I can stop him. This is what it sounds to me.
I definitely, well, here's the thing. Frank Warren is like notoriously litigious,
100%.
He'll sue just about anybody. And so, I mean, partly he's just doing what he's always done. I certainly think that he's looking for some kind of, you have to ask yourself, is he going to go white knuckle on this, or will he settle? I suspect he'll settle. I don't know what that will look like. But it's just really amazing to me that, look like let's show some of these media elements here, Long Island Luke. Here's Frank Warren holding hands with the Turk man. Look at this, holding hands. These guys. Did you see? We have this one here as well. It's a hilarious tweet. Don't cry because it's over. Sue because it happened. Holding hands again. Incredible show. I gotta say, Frank Warren does have nice suits, though. I will say that. But the thing that stands out to me, if I may, is not just how flat-footed these guys have kind of all been caught.
Yeah.
But there was a video that came out this week, Rodrigo, and it was it wasn't recent, but it wasn't like, not too distant either. And it was Eddie talking about Turkey Al-Sheikh. And he says, I would, if he asked me to, I would clean His Excellency's shoes. And even the interviewer goes, that's a bit much, Eddie. That's a bit much. Like, it to me, I don't know how you can I certainly agree with your assessment, but I also feel like, isn't it just the case that these guys helped center Turkey as like the guy who's going to control everything and fund everything, and this is the guy in charge, and we're going to do exactly what he says. And then when it becomes clear that he doesn't really need them because this 800-pound gorilla from a sister industry is just going to use all of their might to then, employ it under what will be largely a new regulatory scheme, doesn't need you bozos anymore, and he's happy to get rid of you. And I don't know, do they seem surprised to you? Do they seem?
And it's
weird, right?
It is. It's got to burn that the least reverential one of them is the one who won, because Dana didn't do all that. He did the handhold once. The handhold was, but he didn't do all this. He wasn't shining Turkey's shoes at all, at least not in public. So he has to burn a little bit that the one that was the least reverential to Turkey is the one who ended up winning in the end. And the moment Turkey got himself in bed with the UFC and the TKO, those guys were still doubting. And I think us on the UFC side, on the MMA side, we're like, guys, you have no idea what's coming. You have no idea the way you guys are going to get fucked. And I saw with them, and I saw with my favorite Nepo baby, Mexico's favorite Nepo baby, Mauricio Suleiman.
Tell the folks who Mauricio Suleiman is. So we've talked about him on this show, but just remind them.
Mauricio Suleiman is the head of the WBC, the CMB in Spanish, the World Boxing Council, Consejo Mundial de Boxeo. He is the son of Don Jose Suleiman, one of the most influential. If boxing is what it is now, for good or for bad, Jose Suleiman and Don King shaped so much of it. Jose Suleiman is involved in the promotion of some of the biggest fights of the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. And he's the man who helped establish the pay-per-view model, helped establish the Vegas fight night for boxing. He is one of the more important men in the business of boxing. And his son is just fucking clueless. As the head of the WBC, and as someone who didn't think Dana White posed any threat until like 3 months ago, 2 months ago. He really is the guy who like literally stood at the exit of the tunnel, saw a bunch of lights headed him way. He's like, it's just lights. Oh, it's just lights. Oh, it's just lights. And now that the truck's exiting the tunnel, it's like, God, I think we're kind of fucked.
And still just believes, these sanctioning bodies have always existed. Well, not always, but they've existed.
You all will want my belt forever.
Yes.
It means nothing without the WBC belt. With my Emerald Green belt, it means nothing. But no one cares anymore.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Moment it died down for him and he didn't realize it is when Canelo fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., he went in with this weird ass, it was a beautiful belt, but he just invented a belt out of nowhere made by Mexican artisans so he could get on the licensing of the fight. And that's what people who are not close to boxing don't see, right? They're like, it's a good gesture, it's a beautiful belt, he just wants to be in there. No, he wants to put that belt on someone so he can charge him a few $1 million at the end. And you see what happened with Butler. It's like, no, I don't want to pay you. I'm not going to pay you the sanctioning fees. I'm done. I don't need the WBC for anything. And I think everyone just realized they don't really need the WBC for anything.
Yeah. Oh, and I didn't get to go in the ring, or I didn't get a box seat, and it's like, brother, this is.
There's bigger things to worry about, buddy. It's gonna be so bad.
This is gonna. Oh my God! All right, in the interest of time, because we do have a bunch of things to get to, let's move along to topic number 4. So let's stay with boxing here if we can for just a second. Now, as part of the co-main, so there's going to be a main event April 11th on Netflix between Tyson Fury and Arslanbek Makhmudov. And the co-main event, we have found out, is going to be Conor Benn, who is going to take on Regis freaking Prograis. Here is the actual graphic that they made for it. It'll be at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London. It will be a big show. I certainly have no doubt about that. But my question is really quite simple about this, Rodrigo. They paid him, Conor Benn. I'm not mad at Conor Benn for, $15 million for one fight. Why would you turn that down? You'll never get that money again. However, what I'm going to say is, again, a loaded question. They paid $15 million to put Conor Benn in a co-main event for one fight against mega washed. I love Regis, but mega washed Regis Prograis. Is that what really happened here?
So I don't know how to say this. Let's go a little bit slowly. So, when you're upset at a guy and you see the guy's going out with a girl who you think you can get, and then you go out and get, and then you figure out the rest. It kind of feels like that. It kind of feels like, I want to screw Eddie. I'm going to go get Conor. And then what do we do with him? You know what? Advertising space on someone else's show. I'm going to have Conor go in there as a co-main, dressed head to toe on Zuffa Boxing, and then we'll figure out the rest. That's kind of like what it feels for me. It's $15 million for a co-main in an event that's not even your event. It's going to be watched. It's Tyson Fury. People are going to watch. It's on Netflix. You already have the subscription. But to me, it feels like that. And now the Ring X account, not only the Warren tweets that were so insane, it's a Conor Benn fan account, if you look at it. One of those like weird fan accounts that you can find on X. They just tweet about like, look at the way he's smiling. Look at the way he shook someone's hand. That's the Ring account right now with Conor Benn.
I can't tell. The way they promoted it, or the way they announced it, was that Sela had paid for the purse. So he
Yes.
came up with 15 million, which is to me not super distinct from what they did with John Jones. Now, John didn't take the fight. Obviously, John's a much better fighter in MMA than Conor Benn is in boxing. But the point I'm trying to make is the UFC didn't want to pay under their normal scale for this kind of a fight. So they went to the Saudis and said, hey, can you hook us up with some cash to make this happen? John turned it down, but one fight, big purse from the Saudis. The mechanics of the thing seem the same. I will say it's kind of funny. Dana White's got a lot of skills in certain areas, but an eye for talent definitely is not one of them. Like the fact that Callum Walsh and like Conor, this was so funny to me. Conor Benn's not that good. I hope everyone understands it. I've never seen a fighter not this good, with the exception of Jake Paul. Now, Conor Benn's a real boxer, but with the exception of Jake Paul, I don't know if I've seen a boxer who's this sub-elite get this kind of a payday ever. I'm not sure I've ever seen something like this. This is actually like crazy unique. And I mentioned this on my live chat yesterday, Rodrigo, which was I'm reading this book on basically well, it's a lot of things, but the part of the book I'm on now is antitrust in the United States on the computer industry in the 50s and 60s and 70s. I know it was quite dull reading, but it really is quite important to understand, because they articulate like what things were the in parts of the FTC or the Department of Justice, what were they looking for as like an example of an anti-competitive practice? Like, what would that even be? And there were some guidelines around it. And one of the guidelines was if someone engages in a business practice where they can't possibly hope to make any real meaningful use of it, it is merely designed to take away something out of the market so that someone else can't have it. And then just, taking it and then using it at a loss continually. That's like inherently anti-competitive. They're not even a monopoly yet in boxing, and they're already engaging in behavior, because your assessment to me is right on. You can't make money on one fight, 15 mil. I don't care what your viewership is on Netflix. You're never going to make your money back on something like that. It's just not. Dude, we're talking about 4 Conor Benns makes the White House card. It doesn't make any sense, right? But it does make sense, to your point, if it's a revenge plot. If it's a signal to the rest of the industry, yeah, okay, if you guys have them under contract, we're not going to touch them. But the instant that they become available, you can't stop us from getting whoever we want, even if we want a guy who's not even that good. Quite the message, if you ask me.
It feels a little bit like European soccer, right? It's like, what do you guys get that player so no one else gets him? And a lot of soccer teams in Europe do it. I'm going to get that guy. Why? So no one else gets him.
Yes. Can we use him? I don't know.
Maybe. He'll sit on the bench. We'll loan him up somewhere. He'll be in Turkey next week. But no one else in my league is going to get him.
It feels to me absolutely like, this is why, going back to the previous question, it's like, dude, I think you guys are on borrowed time, man.
Yep.
I don't know when that's going to go. I don't know exactly how that looks, but the institutional advantages cannot be competed with even by a guy like Eddie Hearn, who does boxing and then darts.
This is a guy behind you is the biggest wallet in the sport with a very ruthless guy. It is what it is. And if you guys haven't figured out that you're screwed, I'm not gonna say it again. You're gonna find out.
Yeah. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
Even if it takes 10 years, they're gonna do it.
Oh, by the way, I didn't even put this on the rundown, but very quickly, your reaction to Mayweather Pacquiao 2.
If I have nothing to do, I'll watch it. Maybe I'll watch it later. Like my reaction to the first one was
see you
flat.
there at the first one?
No, I wasn't there.
Okay.
No, I wasn't there. But my reaction for the first one was like, okay, sure, I'll watch it, but like, what's the purpose of it? And now it's like, okay, Floyd needs money. Manny probably needs money too.
Oh no, they both need money.
Yeah. Yep.
I was saying this very quickly, and we'll move on to the last topic here, which is, it's interesting, right? In 2015, when they put that fight on, in 2015, it was
late.
Well, not only was it late, it was $100 to that pay-per-view, if you recall, at least in the United States. I'm not sure what the situation was in Mexico, but
tape delay in Mexico. Free
okay.
Tape delay.
Okay, so it was $100 back 11 years ago, which is crazy. So what would it be now? 120, 130, something like that. If you tried to charge that today, you're not making your money back on that fight. But an interesting thing has happened along the way. They definitely still have some star power, not like it was, obviously, but they have something. But if you like, we all hated pay-per-view here in the United States because who wants to keep paying constantly $80, $80, $50, $80, whatever, to go watch stuff? But it turns out that it might have been a little bit of quality control that now, because here's the thing. Would you watch Mayweather Pacquiao 2 for, I'm going to make it up, $150 on pay-per-view? No, I'm not doing that.
No.
Would you watch it for free? Well, okay, sure. You know what I mean? It makes it possible to make fights that pay-per-view would never, ever scale for. But for free, you can make a bullshit-ass fight with two old guys that nobody asked for, and it actually might do pretty well because you're not trying to do anything other than service those needs. You're not trying to make good boxing. You're trying to make good streaming content. A totally different way to think about fight promotion.
It is. And you said it. It's good streaming content. And they'll do great numbers. I'm 100% sure.
All right. Last but not least, topic number 5. Let's talk about this. This is a smaller story, and it didn't get a ton of attention, nor should it necessarily get a ton of attention, but there was interesting debate after it was announced on social media. Here's how it goes. The PFL announced that Logan Storley is going to face a gentleman by the name of Florim Zendelli in the main event on May 2nd. This will be in South Dakota. If you don't know, Logan Storley is from South Dakota. So it makes sense for the promotion, and you can see here, this is what they have. Zendelli, by the way, is ranked within the PFL system for whatever that is worth. And as they indicate here, was the welterweight champion out of PFL Europe in 2024. So you can see why this fight might get made, and you can see why, if you're going to go to South Dakota, why you would want to. Now, you might ask, well, why are they going to go to South Dakota? Maybe they're getting a site fee. I'm not entirely sure. The point I'm trying to make is there is now an enormous amount, I saw, of online consternation for the PFL choosing to do this. And in fact, what I've seen, Rodrigo, are people who are making the claim that the matchmaker model that they've adopted is maybe not the right one for this point. Let's put up the tweet from Aaron Bronstetter, a friend of the show. We love him very much. This is his opinion. Quote, "At least with the tournament, PFL had an infrastructure for building new talent like Thad Gene. No disrespect to him, but nobody is setting an alarm to tune into Logan Storley main events. PFL needs its own identity because we have seen how this model has fared in the past." My question to you, Rodrigo, is does this move by PFL show that maybe they should have stuck with the tournament system?
I mean, first of all, back in South Dakota, I don't know if they should be in the same sentence because you see, why is the Mexican saying that? We're not getting along right now, the U.S. and Mexico, right? But I've been privileged to know. I've been to about 30-something states in the U.S. I've been privileged to know a lot of the U.S. and I've never been to South Dakota. I don't think I want to go to South Dakota, but anyway. Then the other reaction was, well, at least it's not Thackerville, Oklahoma, for those old Bellator heads out there.
Hell yeah.
But my point is, look, okay, you're not going to do the tournament. You should have had a better option. Because this is a site fee or a ticket sale event. You need the money. You either need the site fee or you need a bunch of tickets. You're going to sell a bunch of tickets taking him home. You are. But if this was your option, I think you should have stuck with the tournament. I understand the thing about like not being down with the tournament and all the limitants that it has. But even you talked about it several times. If you're going to stop doing the tournament, it frees you up to do great fights. It frees you up to go to different places. I don't think this is what you had in mind by getting rid of the tournament, right?
I would not say this was my preferred choice. No.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the issue. And I honestly feel for the right holders. Because I know, for example, in Mexico and Central America, a lot of money was paid by the Fox Corporation to get the rights for the PFL. And I don't think this is the show that we're expecting.
Okay, I'm going to say this. I think people are reading the situation a little too narrowly. And I don't have great news for everyone, but I just have the news that I think is real at this moment. Here is the truth. The reason why the tournament system and format for PFL was a differentiator is because, it is a differentiator. They did have something of a matchmaker, certainly, before they changed. But the reality was that was how you kind of understood them. They had a tournament system, blah, blah, blah. But, of course, what happened along the way? It created weird matchups. Some of the rules were hard to follow. And they changed some of that, too. But yes, some people have been created out of it. Like there have been some big names, Thad Gene and some other ones. Brendan Lockton. You could we all know the stories of people who've done really well. Shoeface and some other ones. But the truth is, it left them in the hole financially to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. PFL never made a dime of profit under that model. It didn't work at all. They could not keep doing that. They could not. Now, you could say, well, should they have kept a little bit of a tournament system? And in fact, I think that they should have, and maybe they can always pivot back to that in some kind of way. And I do think that would be good for them. I think, the kind of thing that Bellator was doing, which was mostly matchmaker and then a little bit of the tournament, is a better model. But the reality is that model failed too. Guys, here's the reality. Whether they did full tournament, whether they did partly matchmaker, partly tournament, or whether they do only matchmaker, the news that everyone needs to wrap their head around, in my opinion, is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can't make this profitable. It cannot be done. Not in the scale that they're at. Now, if they change to what they are to be like more of like a European-based thing or much more of, and I realize that Don Davis is gone. They're not calling themselves a duopoly anymore, but, trying not to even be a national scaled kind of event, or at least in the United States, then I think that there's a different kind of conversation to be had. But based on the ambitions, there is no way to make this work. And they can try it tournament, they can try it matchmaker, they can try any kind of hybrid model. It doesn't matter. That's not me saying, Rodrigo, that I think, oh yeah, go put a main event on in South Dakota with Logan Storley, because you're right. It's a ticket play or a site fee play. And then that's not that's not a play that's designed to do big numbers on a national television audience, like not even close. But my response to be is going to be, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The way the industry works is that there is no way to possibly compete with UFC or to be able to, pardon me, make this kind of thing financially viable, because there's no way for your roster to gain legitimacy absent their co-promotion, which is never going to happen. It cannot be done. This is the painful lesson. Hundreds of millions of dollars later, you can't make this work. And I hate to say that, because I know a lot of people who work there. And by the way, I am excited for the year of MMA that they've got in front of us. I think they've got some good MMA ready for us. Maybe not this main event in particular, Rodrigo, but there's some other ones on this calendar that I'm pretty excited about. That's a very true thing. I just don't know what people want. They tried the tournament system. It left them massively in debt. You can't keep doing that. That's a bridge to nothing. Oh, well, this matchmaker model doesn't work. What does that tell you? That's kind of my response. Oh, we can't hear you. Is your mic muted?
There we go.
Yeah.
My dog was here. I'm sorry. I was dealing with my dog and I had muted it. I love the fighters. I love me so Jesus Pinedo. I get that part. If they tell me, of course, they would never say this publicly. Hey, we're just biding our time. We're doing this so we can get some money up front. We're biding our time. We have other plans. Fine, I'll get it. But I really have nothing to add for what you said. Look, if you tell me your MMA promotion is making money, you're either a very small local show that can have healthy finances, or you're lying. I think it's done. And it's very sad, but I think it's done.
I just don't think there's any way to make it work.
No.
So I hope that the events are good. Use it as long as you can. And I get why they went with the tournament model to begin with. Yes, it's a product differentiation. And because of that, it's a way to raise revenue. It's a way to get investment. Yep. You know what I mean? But if the investors are looking at it and being like, okay, well, what have you done with this? And there's no way to make that work. People just kind of wrap their head around. Scott Coker, to me, lost his fastball by the time he was promoting Bellator, but he still had a pretty clear idea of what would be a better model, and it didn't matter.
And he at least was able enough to orchestrate a sale, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're done here. I think we need to sell and convince everyone and sold it.
So, it's not pleasant news. It's not a pleasant reality, but just where you're at. There is no format that they could go to that would change their fortunes. It doesn't exist. All right. That is it for our top 5 topics. Now it's time to bring in Long Island Luke back into the show. Time for a little rate that card, right?
Rank, Luke.
Oh, rank. Sorry.
Yeah, whatever. It's all right. It's everyone's favorite show. It is Rank That Card.
Rank that card!
The it sucks kind of applies there. But anyways, LT, you're up first. Who's most likely to challenge for a UFC belt one day? Eileen Perez, David Martinez, or Damian Penis?
Dude, you love penis.
I had to put Penis in here, you know.
Most likely to challenge for a UFC belt one day? Dude, easily David Martinez.
Okay, Eileen Perez on a 5-fight win streak, though.
Brother,
in
please
women's
stop.
bantamweight, very
Please
shallow
stop.
division.
Yeah, please stop.
Kayla's out, interim title. You don't think she's next in line? to get the win?
Here's my question.
Hold on.
Yes.
Martinez 1, Perez 2, penis number 3. Go ahead, Rodrigo.
So,
Yeah.
what's going to happen after Kayla and Amanda fight? Is the division going to be over?
It's not going to be over, but it's going to be a vacant title.
So I'm going to say Eileen Perez because she would get the vacant title shot first.
That's what I'm saying.
I understand your point, look, and I agree with your point. But I think it's Eileen Perez. I think 135 is a much more difficult in men's division. I think traffic can get a little bit tough. So I will go Eileen Perez, David Martinez, Damian Penis.
All right, so I'm just going on fighter quality, but these are fair points.
All right. Well, Rodrigo, this one's for you. The undefeated fighter with the biggest chance of losing on Saturday: Santiago Luna, Regina Tarin, or Imanol Rodriguez?
Hands down, Regina Tarin. Short notice fight, a lot of emotion. She's never fought this quality of a fighter. She's never fought in a place that big. Had a hard weight cut, from what I understand. She did make weight, but she was still on the PI like today before, I don't know, half an hour before weighing in. Still shedding pounds. So Regina Tarin.
Okay. And then who would be second for you? I'm assuming Imanol.
I think Regina Tarin, Santiago Luna, and then Imanol Rodriguez. Santiago just takes a lot of damage. He just takes a lot of damage.
LT, you changing that order at all?
I definitely would go with Tarin as the first. Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I'll keep the same one. I'll keep the same one for the same reasons. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think I'm swapping Imanol and Santiago. I feel like Kevin
I was
Borjas,
debating that
shaky,
one, yeah.
You know? Yeah. All right, LT, over to you. The naming duo with the best chance of winning both fights. So the Silvas, which is Eric Silva, Douglas Silva de Andrade. The Problemas, which is Christian Quinones and Ryan Gandra. Or the Kings, which is also Eric Silva and Bobby Green.
Also, Reyes is his last name. Reyes in Spanish,
Kings.
Long Island, just means kings.
Oh wow!
So there's
all
actually
right.
there's actually 3 kings.
So let's
on this
just
card.
let's not include Eric Silva in that then, since he's already in the Silvas. So put Javier Reyes, King Green as the Kings.
Best chance of winning. Who are the Silvas again?
Douglas
Eric
Silva
Silva?
de Andrade and Eric Silva. Eric Silva's a huge dog. Silva de Andrade is like
And
plus
the problems?
200.
Who are the problems?
Quinones and Gandra, who are both big favorites.
Okay, so I'll go the Problemas, then I'll go Kings, then I'll go Silvas.
Yeah, that's probably right. Rodrigo, you changing that at all? Or are you going?
No, that's kind of it. Quinones and Gandra are number one by far. I think they're both going to win. I think the order stays.
All right. Well, Rodrigo, who's most likely to win by finish? Gandra, Quinones, or Imanol Rodriguez?
Oh, Gandra. Gandra, number one. My boy Chito Medina is not that good, and he takes a lot of damage. Shout out to Bolivia. Hope you make it to the World Cup. See you here in a few weeks in Mexico. But my boy Chito just takes too much damage. Jose Medina, I think he's going to get knocked out very quickly. So I would say Gandra first, then Imanol, then Christian Quinones. Just Christian because he hasn't fought in 2 years.
Okay. See, we're talking about guys taking damage. I mean, Christian's fighting Chris Moutinho. I'm like, that's a guy who's going to take a
But we
shitload
haven't fought in 2 years, and we've seen Chito Medina just get lit up like this.
True. I think
So I
he's still
think
winless.
Gandra, Imanol, and Christian.
All right. LT, you changing that at all?
I'll go. Did you say Imanol was second?
Yes, Quinones third.
Oh, okay. No, then I wouldn't change. No.
All right. I think I'm going the order it's in. 1, 2, 3.
Gandra, okay.
All right, LT. Most entertaining fighter on the card: David Martinez, Brandon Moreno, or Edgar Chairez?
Ooh.
Now that's tough because this is subjective. Man, Brandon Moreno's fucking hard to top. I'll go Moreno 1. Rodrigo, I know that y'all love Chairez, but I love Martinez too much, so I'm going to go Martinez 2, Chairez 3. Don't kill me.
Here's the thing. I won't kill you. Here's the thing, and it's not an indictment on anyone. This is most entertaining fighter on the card, right? For this card, for this fight, for this weekend.
Correct.
So, Brandon loves the 5 rounds. Brandon takes it easy the first round and a half. About that, I think Edgar has a lot to prove. I think he's gonna be just wild immediately. So I would place Edgar number 1. I think David knows what it means to finish Chito, so plays David 2. And I'll place Brandon 3 just because I think Brandon will take his time on Saturday.
I might go Edgar, Moreno, Martinez, and no disrespect to any of them because they're all super
they're great.
entertaining.
Both of
Yeah.
them are great.
Whoa. Won't you both agree that Moreno's fights with Figueiredo are better than anything Martinez or Chairez has ever had?
Yes, but we're talking about this Saturday against Lone'er Kavanagh.
Yeah, and we've also
I think he's going to have a flat first round.
We've also seen like split decisions, and I'm not saying they haven't been entertaining, but
So
we've seen Moreno and
me,
fights.
Most entertaining career-wise, 100% Brandon Moreno. 100% Brandon Moreno.
Yeah.
Okay.
On this weekend's card, I think that's my
All right.
order.
All right,
All
I'll
right.
accept that.
All right, Rodrigo, who's most likely to avoid a 3rd straight loss? Macy Chasson, Angel Pacheco, or Daniel Zellhuber?
I'll place Dennis Hoover 1. I think he's the better fit against King Green. I think he can get it done. And then, can Macy actually make her? You know what? I'm going to say Angel Pacheco 2nd and Macy just on 3rd because every time I pick against Eileen, every time I say something negative against Eileen, I'm dead wrong about it. It's happened to me more than once. And I'm sure now that I said it, it's going to be the other way around. But I'm going to go Sel Huber, and I'm going to go.
Oh, look at
there
you.
we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah, I think that's my order. I'm not going to shit on Eileen today.
LT, what's your order?
I'm going to go in reverse here. So I'm going to go Zellhuber 1, Pacheco 2, and then Macy. Is that wait? Most likely to avoid a 3rd. No, sorry. So yes, that's right. Yes, Zellhuber, Pacheco, and then Macy last.
All right, fair enough. LT, fighter whose stock will drop the most with a loss on Saturday: Daniel Zellhuber, Christian Quinones, or Brandon Moreno?
Moreno's easy number 1. That would be a terrible loss.
Not Zellhuber coming off. He would be back-to-back losses to guys 39 plus years old, and he's still only 26. People thought of him as maybe a future prospect.
I'd put him 2nd for that reason. I do think it'd be not great to be in that position. But Moreno, dude, taking on a guy who, yes, it's short notice, and we know sometimes that can like make fights a little funky at times. But as you indicated, we talked about before, he's gassed before, he's hittable. Never fought a guy this quality. Certainly, that would be a really bad fucking loss. So no, Moreno, Zellhuber, Quinones.
All right, Rodrigo, you changing that?
For me, same thing. Moreno number 1, because if he loses, then maybe we see no more championship fights for him.
True.
That's a big stock loss. Zellhuber, there's still some room to improve, and there was some hype coming in. And I love Christian Quinones. I love him. I've known him since he was a kid. But what stock?
Yeah, great point, but it's Chris Moutinho, which I feel like you still got to take a hit at that point.
What stock?
Yeah, what stock? I mean, you lose your spot on the roster, I would think at that point.
He'll probably get cut.
Yeah.
He'll probably get cut.
All right, Rodrigo, underdog with the best chance of winning: Lone'er Kavanagh, Lone'er Kavanagh, I think it is, Macy Chasson, or Marlon Chito Vera?
I'd go Marlon Chito Vera at 1 because we've never seen David against this caliber opponent, and it's just a lot of pressure. This week has been a lot of pressure on David, so I would go Chito Vera number 1, Lone'er Kavanagh 2, just because he packs a punch, and then Macy Chasson last.
Okay, LT.
I definitely go Marlon 1. I can't decide.
Really? Surprised both of you picked Marlon 1. He's the biggest dog of the 3, so.
Yeah, but I'm not going strictly by odds. I don't let the math.
Yeah,
tell
no,
me.
I appreciate that. I'm
not a slave to the matrix.
Yeah.
I might
Meanwhile,
go.
You're like the Problemas. They're both favorites. Yeah, they're gonna win.
Yeah. I'm also a hypocrite. I'll go Marlon, and then I might go Macy 2nd, and then Lonnie 3rd. Even though I recognize that there's some live dog potential all the way around.
All right, I'm going Macy 1st.
Wow.
I'm going Marlon 2nd, Lonnie 3rd. All of them have a chance, though. LT, Who will have more UFC fights after this card? Eric Silva, Douglas Silva de Andrade, or King Green? I believe they are all 38 plus years old.
King Green, because he has promotional viability.
Yeah, but if he loses this, it'll be like, top of my head, 5 of his last 7 or something.
I mean, I know, but it's like, what is the appeal to the UFC for the other guys? I mean, maybe Douglas Silva de Andrade, because he's still kind of like a reliable talent indicator in the division. So I put him last, maybe, in terms of like, I put him, maybe, you know what? Maybe I'll put him first. And then I put King second. I'll put Eric third, something like that.
All right. See, I could see them holding on to Eric Silva just because he's Colombian, I believe. And
Venezuelan.
Or Venezuela. All right. Either way, there's not that many Venezuelan fighters in the UFC. I feel like.
Do they need a bunch? You know what I mean? Like.
Yeah, but I feel like they hold on to. I don't know. Rodrigo, what order are you going for this?
The issue is Eric Silva barely fights, and that's
True.
another issue. You beat 3 in a row, I think he gets cut. If he loses, I think he gets cut. So we'll go King Green number 1. Promotional viability. He fights. People love him still. Whatever happens this weekend, he'll get up, I don't know, at least 2 more fights. Douglas Silva second and Eric Silva third, because I think Eric's fortunately losing, and I think he's getting cut this weekend.
All right. Silva's definitely third for me as well, but I might go Silva de Andrade before King Green. I feel like if King Green gets like, I don't think Zellhuber's going to finish him, but if Zellhuber finishes him, I could see them being like, all right, King Green, go to bare knuckle or something. All right, Rodrigo, last one for you. Most intimidating nickname: Border Boy, the Assassin Baby, or Kill Bill?
So you guys know that the Assassin Baby came because the person who gave him his nickname didn't know how to say the baby-faced assassin.
Oh, that's hilarious. I didn't know that.
That's where it comes from.
True?
That's where it comes from. They wanted to make him the baby-faced assassin, and then it became the Assassin Baby. And for a while, because they didn't know good English, they would say the baby assassin because it was el bebé asesino. And they would say the baby assassin. It's like, guys, that does not mean what you guys wanted to mean.
That sounds like Dana White beating up babies.
He was supposed to be the baby-faced assassin. For me, it's the Assassin Baby all day. Then Kill Bill, and then Border Boy second and Kill Bill third.
Yeah, Border Boy's pretty badass. Luke, what are you going with?
I want to tell a funny story about my wife one time. So one thing I've learned, Rodrigo, and I'm sure you can speak to this, the difficulty in from Spanish to English is like there's a challenge for some when you add a second part to the verb. So for example, there's one thing to turn and then another one to turn on the light. You know what I mean? Yep. One time my wife got into a verbal spat with someone and they told her to fuck off. And then her response was, no, you fuck.
I do, lady. I do.
And then I had to sit in the car and be like, okay, so I don't think you won that exchange. I just want to be clear about that. Okay. Most intimidating nickname. I got to tell you, I feel like Border Boy is a fucking sleeper.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's a sick fucking name.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in order here because I like cultural references, but not ones that'll just hammer you over the head, you know? Like, I don't know. It doesn't work. I mean, I like it when they're a little quirky. So Border Boy for me, like for example, my favorite nickname maybe of all time is the Muscle Shark, which the Japanese gave to Sean Shirk. So I'm going to go Border Boy, Assassin Baby, Kill Bill in that order.
All right. I thought you were more of a Beast in 25-8 guy as your favorite.
Yeah, well, I mean, who is? Who is?
Yeah, well, shout out Corey Anderson. But I would agree with you, Luke. Like, if I have to fight one of these guys and they're like, you're fighting this Mexican guy, his nickname is Border Boy. I'm like, oh, dude, that guy's going to fuck me
fuck
up.
that.
You know, like the Assassin Baby, I'm like, what is him? Am I fighting a child? And then Kill Bill is like, it just means nothing to me. It's the name of a movie. You know?
I guess that's the culture difference because for me, it's like, you're going to fight Border Boy. Oh, so he lives in a border town. Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, he's from Tijuana. Whoa.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it sounds on this side of the border.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds
Cool.
scary.
Yeah,
Sounds scary. Yeah,
oh,
first,
shit.
like, I mean, sure, is he from Reynosa or something? From Laredo? Fine, I guess.
Maybe. I don't know. All I know is that he's from the border, man. You know?
Sure, whatever. Let's go.
All right, guys. Well, the next game we are going to play is everybody's other favorite game. This is Eskimo Brothers.
And Banyu.
All right, guys. So I'm going to show you 3 fighters, and you have to be the first to guess who their mutual opponent is. So we're going head to head here. First up, we got flyweight. Joseph Benavidez, Davison Figueiredo, and Alexandre Pantoja.
It's not Moreno, is it?
It's not Moreno.
No, it's not. It's
The Joe B part here is the one that's throwing me off.
me too.
Formiga?
Nope. He is currently ranked. Everyone on the list is currently ranked.
It's currently ranked flyweight. I'm stumped.
Give us a hint.
And it's gonna be so easy.
He often pulls out of fights. In fact, I had a prop quiz.
Manel
question.
Kape?
Manel Kape.
No,
No.
never fought Benavidez.
Oh wow.
I had a question about him recently. He pulled out of 14 UFC bouts officially in his 6-year tenure. He's
It's not Albazi, is it?
No, former title challenger. He's headlined some events, been on a rough skid, but is coming off of a win.
Royval?
Nope.
Just to fucking tell us.
It is Alex Perez.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Yeah. So, all right.
I
guess
would have never got that.
You're right.
no one gets any points on that one. But all right. Next up, we got featherweight. Gilbert Melendez. Oh, I'm in the wrong order. Dan Hooker, Max Holloway, and Gilbert Melendez.
And this is how we'll never get invited into your show.
No, yeah. Rodrigo, you're welcome to come on whenever.
No, I don't want to embarrass myself.
I've done it 3 times. That's not fun.
It's not fun.
Oh, Jesus. You got to give us a hint, brother. This is
Currently
tough.
ranked, coming off of a loss in January.
Wait, at 55 or 45?
Well, that's for you to figure out, brother.
Oh, motherfucker.
No, we'll be 55 because
No, I already told you it was featherweight, so it's
Oh, okay.
45.
So it is 45.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Gilbert won. It's Diego Sanchez fought. Who fought Gilbert at 145?
The Gilbert fight was, I mean, this is probably self-explanatory, but was
It's
the furthest.
155, right? Yeah.
It was also no, it was. I think it was 45, but it was the longest to go. That's the way I'm trying to.
Yeah.
He's an Englishman.
Arnold Allen?
Yes, sir.
That's
Arnold
right. That's the one
Allen.
that Gilbert dropped down to.
Jesus,
For
that
Arnold
was
Allen.
tough.
All right, LT, you're up 1-0. Next up, we got heavyweight. Mark Hunt, Tom Aspinall, and Junior Dos Santos.
Who's fought
Marcin Tybura?
JDS?
No.
No, he didn't fight JDS. Who's
It's not
fought
Blades, is it?
It is Curtis
Oh,
Blades.
wow.
That's
Dude.
right.
If you put a gun to my head and you were like, tell me about Blades versus JDS, I'd be like, I can't talk about fake news. I have
Yeah.
no memory of this fight.
Yeah, I don't remember that either. All right, next up, we got women's strawweight. Alexa Grasso, Carla Esparza, and Weili Zhang.
Was it a Rose? No, Rose didn't fight Alexa.
Yeah.
So it's 115. So it's Alexa. Alexa for Carla. I'm so bad at this fucking game. I hate you. I hate you all. I hate you all.
I hate this game too. I'm so bad at them.
Losing viewers as we talk.
One half of a UFC power couple.
Oh, Tisha Torres?
Nope.
Rocky?
Nope.
Oh, that's a wrong division.
Tatiana Suarez.
Tatiana Suarez. There you
Tatiana
go,
Suarez.
Rodrigo.
That's right.
go.
Oh, Jesus.
That's
Okay.
Tatiana.
All right. 2-1 LT. Next up, we got welterweight. Michael Morales, Kelvin Gastelum, and Bilal Muhammad.
Sean Brady?
Damn, that was
Yeah,
quick.
right. Sean Brady.
Nailed
Yep.
it. I feel like Michael Morales was a dead giveaway there.
Yes,
You
too
know,
soon.
Maybe should have chose someone else. But all right, LT 3-1. Next up, we got bantamweight. Jose Aldo, Song Yadong, and Uriah Faber.
The Uriah was the one that's throwing me off.
Jesus, Aldo's fought like half the free world. Give us a hint, dude.
Fucking currently a champion. I guess that's a dead giveaway. I gave you the
Piotr Jan.
Yeah, Piotr
Piotr
Jan. Yes, it is Piotr Jan.
Oh my god!
I always forget the Piotr Jan Uriah favorite fight.
Yeah,
Always
that was a fun
forget it.
one. I think I have the poster.
Once again, gun to your head to save your family, Luke. Tell me about Uriah Faber versus Jan.
I couldn't
I'd
tell
have
you.
to-
I
I'd have
will.
to-
I literally have the poster behind me. I believe it was on.
I'd
UFC
have to tell my
245.
family goodbye forever.
Usman versus Covington. I believe it was the opening bout, and he dropped Uriah Faber like 3 times in that fight. It was sick. And yeah, I do remember that. Thank you very much. All right, next up we got women's flyweight. Jessica I, Jillian Robertson, and Roxanne Modafferi.
Oh wow.
Man, BC is pants around the ankles.
Shout out Roxanne Modafferi, former training partner of Mrs. Thomas.
Of my wife, yes, that's right.
I love Roxy.
Bro, I'm never gonna get this. I'm never gonna get this.
All right, well,
No, then Roxy.
she
Yeah.
is a current top 10. I know I said they're all ranked. She's currently top 10. She has Has she headlined an event before? I don't want to.
Is it Macy Barber?
It is Macy Barber.
Ah,
I was going to say, I don't know if she
Oh,
technically
wow.
headlined an event because she did pull out of that headliner. That might have been her only one. So technically, maybe not. But yes, it was Macy Barber. All right, we got 3 more, guys. Next up,
Oh my god.
light heavyweight, Volkan Ozdemir, Corey Anderson, Paul Craig.
it's not Ankalaev, is it?
No.
No, it's
Is it Walker?
It is Johnny
Yes.
Walker.
Jesus.
LT, you're doing good today.
Yeah, finally.
Well, you got the bum opponent, so yes.
No, but he's been quick with like the Sean Brady one was like 2 seconds.
That one was kind of easy. The other ones are when you got like Jessica Andrade. No, not Jessica Andrade, but Jessica I. I'm like, I don't fucking know.
Yeah. Well, here we go, evil. All right. Next up, we got lightweight Benoit Saint Denis, Rafael Dos Anjos, Cub Swanson.
So Cub at lightweight. Was the Cub one at lightweight? Do we remember?
I do not remember, and the answer does go between both divisions. So
Got it.
Dude.
Cub.
Rafael Dos Anjos has fought.
Moicano, was it? No.
yes,
It
not
is.
so
Oh.
Moicano.
He fought Dos Anjos. The moment I says like, did he fight Dos Anjos?
Yes, he got finished. I think, or no, maybe it went the distance, but he got his. It was like life
got his
changing
ass kicked, right?
beating for like yeah. If it was either a like 4th round corner stoppage or it was Ortega, whatever the fuck. But either way, he got his ass beat
Yeah, it was
for a
Moicano.
really long time. Last one, we got middleweight Kamaru Usman, Israel Adesanya, and Alex Pereira. I recognize all 3 of these men are in different divisions, but the answer is a middleweight.
Oh, it's Sean Strickland.
It is Sean Strickland, as they call him. Sean
Yeah.
Strickland.
I'm sorry, that name is just blocked from my brain.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Guys, that was Eskimo Brothers. Hope you enjoyed it.
Very good. Thank you, Long Island. All right.
Not that much. I gotta admit.
Let's remind everyone, morningkombat.shop if you want to get the t-shirts. Remember, tomorrow is the last day. You got to go to morningkombat.shop and get the Army of Donkness, either shirt or poster. And of course, we do have the evergreens up available. Those don't go away tomorrow, but the one for tomorrow, the Army of Donkness one, that's it. You can reach the show at via email, morningkombat@gmail.com. And of course, you can put our socials up below. Rodrigo, I don't know how accessible your content is for Americans, but plug what you got, good sir.
If you're in Latin America, you can see me at Claro Sports. I do the news, I do games, I do soccer, I do everything. We do have an MMA show in Latin America called Tres Rounds every Thursday night. If you're in the US, you can see me at Bean Sports USA. In fact, you can see me in a couple hours, about an hour and a half, with League On of Football. We do have a Spanish-speaking show in the US called Extra Time Analysis Soccer, but I do jump between English and Spanish in Bean Sports USA. And if you like MMA, I'll see you tonight at about 10 p.m. Eastern Time on UFC Fight Pass, calling Luke's Fight League in English from Mexico City.
Wow, very cool. That's awesome. My man's out here busy. Help me out with my Spanish. My only understanding of the word claro means of course. What does it mean?
Clear.
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 Okay.
It also means clear. Like
Very good.
un líquido claro.
Okay.
That's what
Learning something new every day. You'll be proud of me, Rodrigo. I'm taking Spanish classes now.
Good. I appreciate it. I
Yeah.
should be taking Portuguese classes. Eu
You
falo
know
pouquinho, mas não muito.
It's it's not that I've heard it's not that hard to go from Spanish to Portuguese.
It's
that
kind of
true?
hard. It's kind
kinda
of hard.
hard? Okay.
It's kind of hard.
Okay.
I'm having issues.
All right. My brother-in-law somehow found a way to do it, but I'm
Good on him.
obviously I'm still
Congrats.
working on my Spanish. All right. Rodrigo, thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it. Great information. We'll definitely have you back on again.
Maybe not for trivia, though, okay?
No. I'll skip before that one. Thank you.
Long Island, what you got? You doing a watch along tomorrow?
Yes, full card watch along, 5 p.m. Eastern. Also in about 34 minutes. Again, I got Jose Youngs versus Aaron Broadsetter. Prop quiz belt on the line, $20 on the line. Tune in, don't miss it. Let's go.
There you have it. All right. For Long Island, for Rodrigo, I'm LT. I'll see you guys on Monday in studio, by the way. We're back finally in studio. Until next time, may all of your gains be loyal.